Today I'm going to be talking about e-portfolios, and I don't know how much experiences you guys have and what sort of exposure you guys have to the e-portfolios, but I think it's really an exciting tool in higher ed, and it's one of those tools that's going to be more and more pervasive as the years come, because as I'll talk about in a little bit, a lot of undergraduate as well as graduate courses and situations there, e-portfolios are becoming more of the trend and becoming of the norm than a trend, And so I'll try to keep this session more practical than theoretical. I'll try to balance the two, because there's a lot of theory behind the use of portfolios and how effective it is and how it affects teaching and learning, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of the practical components that needs to be thought through, and I'll try to kind of balance between the two. So, but let me first start by giving you a story of how I got started. When I was in grad school, I taught writing, freshman writing composition, and it's a very traditional thing in writing disciplines to do portfolios. Portfolios is simply, in the writing program, you ask students to compile the work that they've done throughout the semester, and they put together a folder, and they submit that thing at the end, and that's sort of the showcase of the work that they've done throughout that semester. And so that was sort of my first exposure to portfolios, because I've never actually had to put together a portfolio before, and never really had to deal with it in my classes until that point. So at first I thought it was a very neat and organized way to structure things. When you have something all in one packet and you get it from your students, like, oh wow, this is a very neat way to kind of, to assess their work. Because I really hated the sort of the final exams in the sort of traditional mode where you do your 2 midterms or 3 midterms, and that's half your grade, and then your other half of it came from your final exam. Because if you had a bad day, or you didn't do well that day because something wasn't right, you would have been, you would have gotten a bad grade. And I thought that was sort of, the portfolio really gave a holistic alternative to that kind of framework. But then I thought, the more and more I work with it, I saw the limitations. In terms of audience, I was primarily the only audience beyond me. I don't know, maybe their friends, if they really, wanted to show their friends. And I saw, also the paper form was limited in terms of this text, and they could include images, but then it really couldn't accommodate much beyond the text. It didn't really provide a lifelong kind of learning experience, which portfolios is intended to do, because once the course is done, they turn it in and that's it. They don't ever engage with it again, and so that wasn't, that didn't really help facilitate that process as well. And then, of course, there are lots of other issues, but the one that really got me was, I don't know if the volume is, I need to turn my volume here, hold on 1 second. Is this the bulkiness of this? Oh, the volume is low. I have this exploding sound for every one of these, but yeah, just let's see if I can. It's not getting the effect that I intended, but in any case, you get you start with 20, I think I had 20 students per class, each binder. You can see the size of the binder. You times that by 3-4 classes a semester or quarter you teach. You multiply that by the number of years, and before you know it, you have closet full. This is I think a recent picture of the writing program closet just upstairs. It's I think much better now. I think there's been some recent maintenance that's been done, but you can see the sheer size of accumulating these portfolios. And I actually sat down the other day and did the math on this. UC Merced, my experience since being here, there were sort of average of 20 portfolios per class, and each weighed about half a pound, more or less. Some of them actually went up to 3 pounds. I had some students with those thick binders and so on, and averaged 3 sections per semester, and there were about 60 portfolios per semester. And I've taught, this is my 8th semester thus far, and theoretically, there are a total of 480 portfolios that have come through my desk in some fashion, and the total weight has, I think, exceeded 240 pounds. I remember the first few years, well, it's still going on, I guess. If you notice during the week of final or the week after final, most of the writing program faculty would carry luggages and carts of the stuff up and down the hill to take home the grade or whatever and it just got to a point where I think it was physically hazardous to their health just carrying these things, and so it's one of those for me, that it's one of the greenest practices that you can. I mean, I think I can probably write a whole paper talking about e-portfolio and green practices and how that can affect higher ed. And so I think it's there has to be something better. There has to be, and so this is the help button that we need. Oh yeah, you can kind of hear it a little bit. So the easy button. You've ever seen that Staples commercial? Something, you press it and then everything kind of stops, kind of thing. Or if they needed stapler, they press it and then stapler start raining and so on. So in some sense, I'm saying that e-portfolio is sort of the easy button in one respect, but it's not as easy as it looks, which is the other component to this, because with anything that appears easy on the surface, there usually is a lot of work behind the scene. I mean, that's the beauty of, I guess, e-portfolio, is that the final product looks really nice. It's crisp, it's clean, it's uncluttered, but the work that goes into it can be a little bit messy. So essentially, instead of those closet full of portfolios, you just need a computer and an internet connection. Well, you can download most of it now, and you don't need an internet connection to connect with it, but essentially a laptop is all you need. So that's sort of my personal introduction to how I got into e-portfolios. And today I want you, by the end of the session, to be able to just understand what the main types of portfolios that are out there, e-portfolios in sort of the academic context, explain some of the key practical considerations that go into putting together these things, and then finally, I want to introduce you to our very own e-portfolio tool that we have as part of the Sakai or the CROPS system that we have on campus here. So just to give you a big kind of overview, in the past 5 years, e-portfolios, I mean, according to the Campus Computing Project, it has tripled in its use in colleges and universities in the United States. I mean, I would say it started probably in the late 80s. I mean, it's up to you how you want to date it, but the use of online e-portfolios didn't really start until the last 5 years, I would say. The bulk of that sort of really just took off because people have started using these e-portfolios as a way to facilitate a lot of the learning and teaching that's going on. And it's predicted that in the next 10 years that e-portfolios will no longer be considered a special practice, but rather a pervasive and transparent part of the learning environment. And so it's really here to stay. I want to say that, and I think I can be fairly confident about that. It would be more and more. You'll hear more and more about e-portfolios. You'll see more and more portfolios, and before you know, you will actually be. If you're not already an owner of an e-portfolio, you can be, or you will be. So the broadest kind of types of portfolios are sort of what they call learning portfolios, and these are typically geared towards students. Students use this as a way to document their learning processes. They can include things like essays, tests, journals, and other kinds of artifacts that sort of best represent the things that they're learning in the courses, and in particular in their subject area. It provides sort of a framework for them to understand what's going on over time, because I think that's really a neat characteristic, a component of e-portfolio. It allows you to kind of look at learning over time, and you can kind of put markers along the way to kind of show that, okay, this is where let's say if I'm a student putting together a portfolio, this is where I was at the beginning of the semester. Here's a sample of my work. This is where I was in 1/3 of the way, 2/3 of the way, and here's my final work, and this is what it looks like. But at the same time, I think there are types of learning portfolio where it just shows the best work. I mean, sort of the artists or the writers, the professional writers, they have a portfolio with them all the time, and they kind of show the best of what they have done, and that can also be part of this the learning portfolio. It's increasingly more used as applications for jobs or grad schools and other professional purposes. There are more places now that are expecting some sort of e-portfolios from students, beyond sort of their resume and their cover letter, because they want to see more of the work. And there are sample. Let me go back here to. So I'm going to just show you real quick here the LaGuardia Community College in New York, their e-portfolio site. I have all these links as part of the slide that I will make available online, so you don't have to copy down the address or anything. But LaGuardia Community College is sort of known as the leader in undergraduate. Well, not really undergraduate. They're a community college. It's 2 years. So at the community college level, student learning portfolios, they are really the leader, because they have been doing this for a couple of years now, and almost every student that goes through their program it's part of their requirement to put together a portfolio before they can graduate. And you can see, I'm going to just randomly click on one here. I don't know, anyone look interesting here? I'll just go with Ruth Martha here. So this is her portfolio, and you can see, it can be very multimedia. I mean, I think there's sound. I don't know why I can't get more volume on. Some of these have voiceover. Some of these have video. Some of them have just Flash programming. I mean, it can be very sophisticated in what you see in terms of the e-portfolio. She included her resume, her goals, the project she's done, and this first page is a little bit about who she is. These are sort of audio files of songs that I guess the first one. Yeah, I guess the songs that. Kind of hear it. Let me see if I can. But no, you get the idea. Imagine students being able to do this as a final project. I mean, wouldn't you be able to tell a lot more about what kind of skills they've acquired, what kind of things they have learned, than just a piece of paper or a final paper or something of that sort.